Hey, I'm trying to find out about music technology. Can you help me?
Yeah, sure I can help you. What do you want to know?
Wow, I hope this guy can really help me. I want to know everything, right from the very start.
Right, listen up. The very first music technology was invented in 1876. It was a piano that played itself and was called a pianola.
That's amazing. I bet everyone had one of those.
Actually, only the really rich could afford them.
And what happened after that?
Well, at the start of the 20th century, they started making short records using a wax cylinder. These were dead fragile though, and you could only record around 4 or 5 minutes of a piece.
That's not very useful.
Not it isn't. They were very fragile, so broke a lot. Not a great way to record music, and the sound quality degraded very quickly too.
So how did they get around that?
Well, by around 1910 they realized that they could record sound onto Bakelite. This was much better, although still fragile, but meant that the general public could start saving up to buy a record. If they could afford a record player, that is.
I bet they were expensive.
Yes, they were very expensive.
But did they sound any better?
Yeah, they did. The quality of microphones started getting better and they were able to make a much clearer sound as the 1930s approached.
So what was the next big development?
Well, the next big thing was when vinyl was invented in the late 50s. This made a big improvement in sound, but there was also the development of 8-track tapes.
I wonder what that is.
So, 8-track tapes, they came about in the 1940s and allowed music to be mobile for the general public for the first time in the form of 8-track tape players in their usually large American cars.
That must have been really exciting.
It was, but music technology did not become really commercial until cassette tapes appeared in the 1960s and became really popular in the 70s and 80s. Reel-to-reel did appear in between 8-track tapes and cassette tapes, and this allowed greater editing techniques in the studio, such as splicing. But the big bonus with cassette tapes was that they were very cheap to make, and so were cheap to buy.
That must have been good, even if it is responsible for invention of ghetto blasters.
Very true, but it got even better at the start of the 80s with the dawn of the digital age when computers started to take over.
That's awesome, man.
Yes, and at the end of the 80s Sony and Philips invented the CD.
Our now CDs I've heard of.
Yes, and music technology really took off after that. So soon after that, in the early 90s, we have mini discs, and by the end of the century we had pen drives and the ability to exchange music on the internet, and it doesn't look as if it's going to slow down.
That's loads of changes.
I know, and that's only the very tip of the iceberg, but you'll have to find out more yourself.
Well, thank you very much. Now you can find out more too.
Yeah, because there's loads more to find out. Bye.
Bye.